including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's post-game comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. And France swings, sends it in the air deep to right field. Corbin Carroll's going back. He's going to walk this one. Gonna go! Second of the day for Ty France. The Padres add on at 6-4 here in the ninth.
Ty France, a couple of solo home runs as the Padres come from behind once again. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks today in Mexico City by a final score of 6-4. Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll go back to Estadio Alfredo Harp Helú in just a little bit. We'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. May also have some additional post-game reaction for you from Padres players. We have all the radio highlights for you. Recap this game from start to finish. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, your phone calls, and much, much more. As the Padres continue to roll, they improve to 18-8 on this still very young 2026 season. Our post-game coverage is always brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, with epic SoCal views, a full bar and poolside bites. Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected, and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Before we get to our highlights and Craig Stammen and all that good stuff coming up, couple of notes for you. And before we get to the come from behind element of this game, I actually think the story of this game begins with the fact that Germán Márquez ends up going 6 innings, allowing 4 runs in this ball game today. You think about where this game was at the end of 2 innings. The offense for the Diamondbacks in this game all came with 2 men away, nobody on in the second. Márquez gives up a single, a double, a home run, and boom, just like that, the Diamondbacks had a 4-0 lead. But from that point on, Germán Márquez was really, really good, and at the altitude in Denver and, in Mexico City. If anybody knows how to pitch at altitude, it is Márquez, who pitched for so long in Denver. But he goes 6 innings in this game, and the only runs he gives up are those 4 in the second inning. And I start there today because it's almost a little reminiscent to what Matt Waldron did on Thursday in Denver. And we talked about it post-game on Thursday. Matt Waldron, was he great on Thursday in Denver? No, gives up the early runs. But what he did do was get better as the game went on and keep the Padres in the neighborhood, keep the Padres in the game, and give them a chance, give the offense some time to get going and ultimately pull off a late rally to win Thursday's game. This was similar here today. Different game, different circumstances, different city, different stadium. But what Germán Márquez did today was similar in the sense that, yeah, he gave up some runs early, but that was all he gave up. And he ends up pitching into the 6th inning, finishes 6 innings, and was awfully close to this being a quality start by definition. 6 innings, 4 runs given up. So to me, before we even get into the comeback, to the fact the Padres continue to just have these bats come alive in the late innings, I don't think you can tell the story of this game without first mentioning the fact that Germán Márquez, aside from that 2-out flurry for the Diamondbacks in the second, was really good today. And that comes off a really nice start in Anaheim earlier on this road trip. Now, Padres trailed 4-0 heading to the 5th inning. France, solo home run makes it 4-1. They're still down 4-1 going to the 7th inning. And this team just continues to find ways. This offense continues to find ways. I mean, this was similar to what we saw again on Thursday in Colorado. The early at-bats, the offense wasn't looking great, didn't feel great. But consistently, when the Padres absolutely have to put together quality at-bat after quality at-bat, folks, they're finding a way to do it. They just are. They just are. And this is already the 3rd win of the season where the Padres were trailing after 6 innings. And we've seen so many in just the first month of the year, so many come from behind wins. And this one was different today. Look, the Diamondbacks didn't help themselves in that 7th inning. Merrill walks to begin the inning. Machado singles. Then you have Brandon Pfaadt basically forgetting the disengagement rule. He balks the runners to second and third. Another walk. They go to a different reliever. Sheets comes up huge again. Immediately, 2-run single to make it a 1-run game. The error by Perdomo loads the bases again. Sack fly makes it 4-4. Cronenworth gets hit by a pitch. That makes it, that loads the bases again. Laureano hits a sack fly. And out of nowhere, really, you have a 5-4 game and a 4-run inning. The Padres only had 2 singles in that 7th inning. So, again, they are just finding ways to win baseball games. They are. And that is a really good trait to have early in the year. And they continue to show you this identity where they are very comfortable playing from behind and have been extremely successful one way or another, simply finding ways to win. I said it on Thursday a lot. I know that sounds super cliche, and I do think you can look at the at-bats they're taking late in these games, and when they absolutely have to, and their backs are against the wall, the quality of the at-bats have been really good. And I thought in that 7th inning in particular, the at-bats were great. And they had fought on the ropes, and they didn't give in, and they did a really, really nice job in that regard. But Diamondbacks didn't help themselves. They committed mistakes. And what does a good team do? A good team, when they're trailing, if you leave that door open, they're going to march right through it. And it feels like the Padres in a lot of these games are doing exactly that. And it felt that way in the 7th inning. So they found a way to scratch across 4 runs in that 7th inning. They didn't get the big 3-run blast like they did on Thursday, but they found a way to scratch across enough offense to take the lead. France, another home run. He's been really good when he's had opportunities. 2 solo home runs in this game. Gives the Padres a little insurance, and then the bullpen at the altitude was great. Adrian Morejon works around a couple of 2-out base runners, a scoreless 7th inning. Jason Adam in the 8th inning, he puts together a scoreless frame, and then Mason Miller working with a 2-run lead picks up his 10th save of the season, a 1-2-3 inning, no strikeouts, everything put in play, but you'll take it. 1-2-3 inning for Mason Miller. And oh, by the way, in the process, with the first out he recorded, set a new franchise record for consecutive scoreless innings at 34. And that's now up to 34 2/3 innings. So every out that Mason records without giving up a run, he's now going to be building on what is the longest consecutive scoreless inning streak in Padres franchise history, going back to August of last year. So congratulations to Mason Miller, setting a new Padres franchise record. And the bottom line is, if he keeps pitching the way he's pitching, that record's going to grow by a lot. And he's 10 for 10 now in save opportunities. So, look, I thought all the way around, the Padres did a lot of good things in this game. Yes, the offense, once again, left something to be desired early. But another good example of them finding a way to manufacture enough offense late in the game to win it. And don't overlook the German Marquez part of this. This was another start that could have really spiraled out of control, a la Matt Waldron on Thursday in Denver. This was another example where there was a point in this game where you're like, man, if he gives up a few more runs here, you might have, even at the altitude in Mexico City, a deficit that's too much to overcome if the bats can't get going. But German Marquez giving up the 4 early runs and then saying that's enough and getting through 6 innings, that is equally as much the part of the reason the Padres won this game as the offense generating runs late. So, look, Padres continue to find ways. They'll end the day in first place in the NL West. They're 18-8. The Padres have won 16 of 19 games. They're 16-3 in their last 19 games. And you don't get off to this kind of start if you're not winning games in lots of different ways. And the Padres continue to do that, whether here in the U.S. or down in Mexico City like they did today. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll recap this game from start to finish. Again, we'll go back to Mexico City, hear from Craig Stammen, probably hear from some Padres players as well. Final score at Estadio Alfredo Harpelú, Padres 6 and the Diamondbacks 4. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here today, Padres 6 and the Diamondbacks 4 at Estadio Alfredo Harpelú in Mexico City. We will go back to Mexico City in just a little bit, hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen, may also hear from some Padres players as well, so stay tuned for all of that. Well, the Padres going south of the border, trying to keep the good times rolling, winners of 6 consecutive series, playing great baseball, first place in the NL West at the start of today. Could they keep it rolling in Mexico City? Let's find out.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup in Mexico City today, Zach Gallen on the mound for the Diamondbacks, German Marquez for the Padres. Both right-handers tossing 1-2-3 opening frames to begin the day. Gallen then struck out 2 in a 1-2-3 top of the second. Marquez got the first 2 outs of the second, but then Ildemaro Vargas singled, Nolan Arenado singled. That set things up for the rookie, Jose Fernandez.
Now the 1-2 pitch. Fernandez swings and rips it on a line into left center field. That's down to the base hit. It'll give Arizona a lead. All the way to the base of the wall. Vargas has scored. Arenado is on his way. Bogart's relay to the plate will not be in time. It's a 2-run double for young Jose Fernandez. And the D-backs strike first. It's 2-0.
So Arizona with a little 2-out magic. They weren't done. Alek Thomas was next.
2-0. Thomas swings, sends it in the air to right field. Fernando's going back. He's at the wall looking up. This one gonna go. 2-run homer, Alek Thomas. So the kid who plays for Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic, it's the first home run here this weekend, puts it into the Diamondback bullpen in right field. A 2-run homer with 2 outs here in the second inning, and it's 4-0 D-backs.
The score would stay 4-0 for a little bit. Zach Gallen came out of the game after just 3 innings. He was hit by a line drive in the right shoulder in the third. He finished that inning, but he was replaced by Brandon Pfaadt for the top of the 4th inning. It was called a right shoulder contusion for Zach Gallen. Pfaadt was on the mound for the top of the 5th inning. Padres still trailing 4-0. There were 2 outs and nobody on for Ty France.
First pitch here, swung on, sent in the air to right center field. This one is well struck. Thomas is going back to watch. Ty France gonna go! Ty France in Mexico, a 2-out solo shot here in the top of the 5th inning. Padres are on the board. It's 4-1.
It would then stay 4-1 for a bit. Marquez allowing just those 4 runs through 6 innings. We went to the 7th inning. Padres still down 4-1. Pfaadt back on the mound. The Padres only had 2 hits to that point, an infield single and the France home run. But then Jackson Merrill drew a leadoff walk. Manny Machado singled. Brandon Pfaadt balked with those 2 guys on base. They went to second and third. Xander Bogaerts walked to load the bases with nobody out. D-backs manager Torey Lovullo went to right-hander Taylor Clark to face Gavin Sheets.
Here's the first one to Sheets. Gavin swings, hits it hard through the right side, and a base hit. Merrill has scored. Machado's being waved. Here comes the throw from Carroll. It is cut, a 2-run single, and a 1-run game here in the 7th.
So a 1-run game, still nobody out. Ty France then hit a ground ball to shortstop. Geraldo Perdomo bobbled it. Everybody was safe. An error on Perdomo. The bases were loaded again. Perdomo hurt himself on the play. Looked like a leg injury. He came out of the game. Freddie Fermin was next. Fermin hit a line drive to left. It was caught, but Xander Bogaerts came in to score from third base. A sac fly, RBI for Fermin. And just like that, the game was tied at 4 in the 7th inning. Jake Cronenworth then got hit by a pitch to load the bases again. So with the go-ahead run on third base and 1 out, the top of the order, Ramon Laureano dug in.
First pitch on the way. Laureano swings, pops it into right field. It's carrying. Carroll is back in the corner. He makes the catch in fair territory. Sheets is tagging. He will score. For the first time today, the Padres lead 5-4.
Padres putting together a 4-run top of the 7th inning. They take the lead on the Laureano sacrifice fly. They had just 2 singles in that inning. The D-backs made 2 errors in the frame, but Padres would take it. They had a 5-4 lead. Adrian Morejon worked around a 2-out error and a walk in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jason Adam pitched a scoreless 8th inning out of the Padres pen. Padres still led 5-4 going to the 9th inning, looking for insurance. It was Ty France leading off against D-backs relief reliever Andrew Hoffman.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. And France swings, sends it in the air deep to right field. Corbin Carroll's going back. He's going to watch this one. Gonna go! Second of the day for Ty France. The Padres add on. It's 6-4 here in the ninth.
So a 6-4 Padre lead. Ty France getting it done in Mexico. 2 solo home runs. In the ninth inning, it was time for Mason Miller. Now, Mason came in tied for the Padres' all-time consecutive scoreless inning streak with Clay Meredith at 33 2/3 innings. He got the first out of the inning, a fly out from Alek Thomas that officially gave him the new record, 34 consecutive scoreless innings going back to August of 2025. But the job wasn't done. 1 out, nobody on. He got a ground out from Tim Tawa. There were 2 outs and nobody on. Padres leading 6-4. The game left up to the D-backs, Ketel Marte.
Now the 1-1 pitch, swung on, grounded to first base. France has it behind the bag. Little flip to Miller in plenty of time, and the ball game is over. Padres with yet another come-from-behind win, this time in Mexico City. They beat the Diamondbacks 6-4, and they'll break out their mini brooms here tomorrow afternoon to try for the 2-game sweep.
I like that. Mini brooms. Maybe like a little duster, like a dustpan situation. Not a broom. You know me, I don't like the mop to begin with, but little duster, maybe. Padres win it 6-4 in Arizona. Well, not in Arizona, in Mexico City today. Final totals for the Padres: 6 runs on 6 hits, 1 error. They left on 5. For Arizona, 4 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors. They left on 7. German Marquez, a well-deserved win. He improves to 3-1. Taylor Clark drops to 1-1. Mason Miller is now 10 for 10 in save opportunities, and that consecutive scoreless inning streak is up to 34 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings going back to August of last season. So that number, as long as Mason keeps on throwing up zeros, will continue to rise and rise and rise. And if you're a Padres fan and if you're Mason Miller, you hope that streak just continues to go for as long as possible. Padres get another comeback win. They've now won 16 of their last 19 games, and the Padres improved to 18-8 on the season. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Again, the final score today, Padres 6 and the D-backs 4 on the Padres radio network. Padres win it in Mexico City. Final score today, Padres 6 and the Diamondbacks 4. Sam Levitt with you on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show. Good to have you with us on this Saturday evening as the Padres continue to play very, very good baseball, winning baseball. To be specific, Padres improved to 18-8. Diamondbacks dropped to 14-12. Padres now will go for a mini 2-game sweep of this series and a 7th consecutive series win tomorrow in Mexico City. We'll talk plenty more about tomorrow's game coming up a little bit later. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard and much, much more. We also should hear some post-game reaction from Ty France and Gavin Sheets coming up a little bit later as well. And we're going to hear from Craig Stammen in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. Again, the headlines from this one: German Marquez giving up 4 runs in the second. Padres trailed 4-0, but Marquez, to his credit, settled in a major way. 6 innings, 4 runs given up. He actually gets the win in this game, and that's because the Padres, in the top of the 7th inning, trailing 4-1, found a way to manufacture 4 runs to take a 5-4 lead. Ty France, a solo home run, his second of the day in the 9th inning to make it 6-4. And the bullpen did their thing. Adrian Morejon, Jason Adam, and Mason Miller, 3 scoreless innings out of the pen. Mason now 10 for 10 in save opportunities to begin the season, and Mason Miller, getting the first out in the 9th inning, officially set a new club record for a consecutive scoreless inning streak going back to August of last year. It was 34 consecutive scoreless innings with the first out of the 9th inning, and with the 3 outs in the 9th inning, now 34 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings, the longest scoreless inning streak in Padres franchise history. With all that in mind, let's go back to Mexico City at Estadio Alfredo Harpelú and hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. You'll also hear some Spanish translation here from Padres PR member Jorge Merlos, who also does the interpreting, Spanish interpreting for Padres, for the Padres. So Craig Stammen alongside Jorge. Let's hear from Craig.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
I will ask in Spanish. En los últimos 10 días han regresado 3 veces de desventajas muy grandes. Entonces eso yo me imagino que el ambiente en el equipo es muy bueno gracias a ese ánimo que dan ese tipo de triunfos.
So you've come back in 3 of the last 10 games of recently, the vibe of the team must be, out the wazoo, and it's really up and the team's going along very well.
Yeah, the team, never gives up, especially in a ballpark like this. We've talked about that a lot. That we just keep taking good at bats, and hopefully, something gets through. And that inning we scored 4 runs. Those guys took good at bats. Manny started off with a single, a couple walks, and Sheets with a big hit, and then some sac flies. So we're just piecing it together, playing good baseball, but never giving up.
Sí, o sea, así como estamos en un terreno así, como estamos en Colorado, también aquí en México, el equipo solo se tiene que encontrarse unas maneras de encontrar en base y ya entonces a impulsar unas carreras allí. Entonces esa manera de que llegamos con Sheets a hacer un hit allí, especialmente con Manny cuando comenzó las carreras allí con su doble, y ya después la otra base por bolas que se hizo conexión allí. Entonces por eso se pasan las cosas y por eso podemos ganar al final del día.
Diría que el no darse por vencidos es parte de la personalidad de los Padres de este año.
Do you think that's part of the personality of this team this year, just never giving up?
Yeah, I think sometimes you don't quite know, how your team's going to play in some of these games. And so far this season, we've been able to come back. And I think once you feel that early in the season, that becomes a little bit of your identity and who you are. And so far, that's been who we are.
O sea, quizás al principio del año esas cosas pueden pasar, y si sigue haciendo esas cosas el equipo empieza a pensar que es un equipo que puede devolver en estas tipos de situaciones. Entonces, uno como equipo ya puede decir, bueno, quizás somos un equipo que puede regresar a ventajas.
Come down in the front, in the middle.
Hi. Did Mexican fans just witness the best closer on the planet?
Right now, Mason Miller is one of the best pitchers in the planet. You're right about that. He's very talented. He's also a great human being, great person in our clubhouse, a leader. We feel very confident when he's out there in the ninth inning for us.
Sí, definitivamente puede decir que Mason Miller es uno de los mejores lanzadores en el mundo ahorita. Pero hablando de Mason, es una buena persona, gran personalidad y un líder en el clubhouse también. Entonces, claro, cualquier persona quisiera tenerlo en su equipo.
Go to the second row on the left.
Hey, Craig. How did it feel being the home team in a foreign country, in a foreign stadium?
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of Friar fans out there. The Friar faithful traveled and showed up for the game today. We felt very good about the fan base behind us, felt a lot of cheers, and I know the players felt, the chance that they were getting when they were coming to the plate.
Do you think that...
Sí, parecía que muchos de los aficionados han llegado de San Diego y en realidad los muchachos de verdad que lo sintieron, especialmente con todas las porras que le dieron todo el día. Entonces, sí, yo me pienso que de verdad es un honor estar acá con ellos.
Do you think that Mexico City has become a second base for Padres fans?
Yeah, we could probably call this place Petco South. I think that's a good nickname for it. I think if we keep playing the way that we did today, and have the support of the fans behind us, we're going to feel really good coming here.
Sí, yo creo que lo podemos llamar como Petco del Sur, nuestra segunda casa acá en Ciudad de México. Pero si siguen llegando todos los aficionados, yo creo que sí podemos hacer así.
A few more for Craig. Go to the third row on the left side.
Hi, Torrey Levitt was just here. He said you can't give extra outs to a Major League Baseball team because that's what happens, what you guys did to him coming back and stuff. How important was for your team not to give any extra outs after the second inning, and just how important was that to get the win and to help the batters just do what they do best, which is hitting and getting the team this win?
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. It's not, popular to just do the ordinary things well, but we try to be extraordinary at the ordinary, and part of that is being great, defensively, great behind the plate with our catchers, and, they proved that again today, that they're a very good defensive team.
Sí, o sea, nosotros, así como comentaste, no tenemos que darle ningún tipo de outs a ningún equipo, porque si no se pueden anotar las carreras, y entonces defensamente yo creo que estamos jugando súper bien, especialmente con nuestros receptores que están detrás del plato, que ellos han podido hacer un buen trabajo con nuestro equipo todo el año, y defensamente, bueno, seguimos haciendo lo mismo defensamente para que no puedan anotar las carreras.
Anything else for Craig? We'll go to AJ standing up on the back right.
Like, what can you say about the job Marquez did to kind of keep the game within reach for you guys, and not just maybe for today, but for setting up the series, getting to the 6 innings that he did?
Yeah, for him to bounce back after the 4-run inning, all those hits with 2 outs, and to come back and throw 4 more shutout innings, and really, could have went back out for the 7th, but we took the lead in that inning. He pitched great in a tough environment. He just settled in, and mentally, it's just toughness right there. It's just being able to go out there and continue to make pitches, continue to keep the team in the game, and then set the game up well for our bullpen tonight and for tomorrow.
Sí, impresionante lo que hizo Márquez esta noche, después de que anotaron toda esa carrera con 2 outs en esa entrada y podía quedar este equipo bien cerca al marcador. Entonces, para Márquez hacer el gran trabajo de esta noche, para ahorrar un poco de nuestro bullpen para los días siguientes, hizo un gran trabajo para nosotros y quedó nosotros bien cerca a ganar. Teníamos la oportunidad de quizás iba a lanzar el 7ª entrada, pero ya cuando tomamos la ventaja ahí, entonces decidimos que ir al bullpen para cerrar el partido.
All right, Craig, thank you. Congrats.
All right, that was Padres manager Craig Stammen in Mexico City at Estadio Alfredo Harpelú. Good stuff there from Craig, rather. I don't know. I've never done that before. Sorry, Craig. Good stuff from Craig. It was not me thinking that Craig Stammen's name is Greg. It was just a little bit of misspeak there. Good stuff from Craig. And we'll hear from both Gavin Sheets and Ty France coming up in a little bit as well. So stay tuned for all that. Again, final score today, Padres 6 and the Diamondbacks 4. We'll come back. We'll get to our relief pitcher of the game. We'll take a look at the Padres offense today, and we'll hear from Gavin Sheets when we return, who's played a huge role in these last couple of wins on this road trip. Padres win it 6-4 as they win the opener of this 2-game series in Mexico City. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, Padres 6 and the Diamondbacks 4. We'll go back to Mexico City in just a little bit. Here's some more post-game reaction from both Gavin Sheets and Ty France, two of the heroes in today's win as the Padres continue to play very, very good baseball. They are now 18-8 to begin the season, 10 games above 500. Diamondbacks dropped to 14-12. We've told you plenty about German Marquez, why this was a really good outing for German today, despite giving up 4 runs in the second inning. But beyond that, Marquez was great. And oh, by the way, the rally in the second inning was all with 2 outs and nobody on. So could have been really a much different final line for German Marquez. But the fact that he kept it at a 4-run deficit and then a 3-run deficit put the Padres in a prime position to ultimately rally and win this game. The bullpen, though, pretty darn good as well. Let's tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Now the 1-1 pitch, swung on, grounded to first base. France has it behind the bag. Little flip to Miller in plenty of time, and the ball game is over. Padres with yet another come-from-behind win, this time in Mexico City. They beat the Diamondbacks 6-4, and they'll break out their mini brooms here tomorrow afternoon to try for the 2-game sweep.
Our relief pitcher of the game, we got to give it to Mason Miller today, right? Miller, a 1-2-3 ninth inning, now 10 for 10 in save opportunities, and in the process, setting a new Padres franchise record for consecutive scoreless innings. He did it with his first out of the ninth inning, made it 34 consecutive scoreless innings, surpassing Clay Meredith, who pitched 33 2/3 consecutive scoreless in 2006. And then Mason gets the next two hitters, 2 more outs. That streak is up to 34 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings as Mason Miller continues to be terrific. Didn't have a strikeout in that ninth inning. Come on, Mason. No strikeouts. Come on. Just kidding, Mason. You keep doing your thing, pitching exactly how you're pitching. But hey, you know what? Kind of nice. Let him hit the ball every once in a while. Defense did a good job of 1-2-3 ninth inning. By the way, rest of the bullpen today really good. Adrian Morahone worked around a 2-out error and a walk in what was a big spot in what was a 1-run lead at the time. Got through the 7th inning scoreless. Jason Adam worked around a 2-out error to ultimately put together a scoreless 8th inning. So, you know what? And I take that back. One of those plays was actually not ruled an error. I'm not sure which one. You know what? I wrote that down wrong in my scorebook. Which one was actually ruled an error? The one in the 8th inning was ruled an error, but I suppose they didn't actually give Manny an error in the 7th inning. My mistake on that. So, point still stands. Morahone, I'll call it a misplay instead of an error. Got around that the misplay in the 7th inning, 2 on with 2 out, and then Adam working around what was an error in the 8th inning. And a nice job by Adrian, by Jason, and by Mason Miller, of course. Let's tell you about today's Heart of the Order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Heart of the Order here today, 3, 4, 5 spots. Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts. Despite the Padres win, was a pretty quiet day for the Heart of the Order. Jackson went 0 for 3 with a walk. He did score a run. Manny did have the single in that 7th inning that led to the Padres rallying, certainly a big part of that rally, as was the Merrill walk. So Manny a hit and a run scored. Xander Bogaerts did not have a base hit in this game, did walk and score a run. So combined just 1 hit in 10 at-bats for Merrill, Machado, and Bogaerts. Although I will say this about the Heart of the Order. You look at that 7th inning, here's what happened. Merrill led off. He walked. Machado singles, Xander walks. So is it flashy? No. But were those 3 guys, the Heart of the Order today, 3, 4, 5 spots, were they big-time contributors in a variety of ways to that rally in the 7th inning, to the Padres manufacturing runs to take a lead, a 4-run 7th? They really were. So just goes to show you it doesn't always have to be a big swing. Sometimes it can be a walk, it can be a single, it can be smart base running, whatever the situation is. And certainly those guys were a big part of that rally in the 7th inning. One guy that has certainly got it done with his swings, in particular, the last couple of games, is Gavin Sheets. Has the huge 3-run home run on Thursday in Colorado to put the Padres ahead in the top of the 9th inning. And today comes up with the bases loaded in the 7th inning. Padres trailing 4-1 at the time. Comes through with a big 2-run single to make it 4-3, and certainly that base hit a big part of that 4-run 7th inning as the Padres took the lead. Let's go back to Estadio Alfredo Harpelú in Mexico City. Here's some post-game reaction with Gavin Sheets alongside Padres Spanish interpreter Jorge Merlos. Again, you'll hear Gavin here. You'll also hear some Spanish translation. Let's go to Mexico City.
On the right side.
Gavin, it's like Petco Park came to Mexico City. How much does that play into your making those big plays, especially 2 games in a row now?
Yeah, that was an awesome experience to have the crowd behind us like that, and just this whole weekend in general has been an awesome experience, and you know, getting like Craig called it, the Petco of the South is pretty cool, and you know, we could definitely feed off that, and you know, we knew we could stay in this game, and if we got a shot in the late innings, that we could do what we've done all year, and having that crowd support was really big for us.
Sí, ha sido una experiencia maravillosa a ver todos los aficionados venir acá, y así como dijo Craig Stammen, es el Petco del Sur. Entonces, para realizar eso y tener esta bonita experiencia, yo creo que ha sido grande para nosotros.
Stay down here on the right side.
Yep. Gavin, another big hit for you. What sort of allowed you to come through in the clutch here lately?
Obviously, the big at-bats in front of me are huge. You know, you can't get a big hit without guys getting on in big situations. And, you know, I always say that hitting's contagious. And when guys in front of you are taking really good at-bats and putting pressure on the guy, you know, obviously there's a belief that I want to be in those positions. I want to be that at-bat. But the at-bats that guys are putting in, especially late innings, off some of the best arms that we face, that's the biggest thing. And then just riding it and staying in it and trying to get the job done.
Yo creo que la clave es que hay muchos de mis compañeros que han llegado en base antes que yo llego al plato, y entonces me dan la oportunidad de hacer algo. Y yo creo que, así como dicen que todos los batazos que uno hace es contagioso, entonces cuando ya sigue uno tras el otro, entonces ya pueden anotar más carreras. Así que yo doy mucha admiración a mis compañeros que han podido llegar en base y dejarme la oportunidad de entrar en las carreras.
Few more for Gavin. We'll go to AJ on the right.
You may have kind of answered this already, but what is it about this group that, like, you guys have been behind by 4+ runs on 5 separate occasions this season and come back? Like, what is it about this group that allows it to be able to do that?
Yeah, the biggest thing is the belief. You know, there's a no quit belief, and I think obviously what you said, when you've done it a couple times, and then you start believing that you're going to do it over and over and over. You know, I think that's the biggest difference between what we've got going this year versus what we did last year. You know, a couple times that we would get down and wouldn't make that punch back, and you know, we're making that punch back, and obviously our pitching is keeping us in games, which is the biggest thing. You know, credit to the pitching staff. You know, Herman tonight keeping us in that game, letting us get a chance that if we could start, you know, kind of punching back, we get right back in it. And you know, our pitching's been unbelievable, and then a lot of timely hits from the 7th inning on.
Sí, yo creo que, o sea, nosotros que podemos regresar en estos partidos es todo el mérito a nuestros peloteros. Nosotros siempre pensamos que vamos a regresar, y eso ya es una cultura que ya estamos haciendo desde estos últimos partidos, que hemos podido regresar en partidos y ganar. Entonces también le damos un gran mérito a los lanzadores que no han podido quedar en este partido, especialmente esta noche con Márquez, que ha podido hacer tanto el buen trabajo después de dar tantas carreras, y nosotros pensamos que tenemos una oportunidad de regresar, y entonces eso nos da el pensamiento que nosotros vamos a regresar y a ganar este partido.
Go to the second row on the left.
Hi, Gavin. Over here. Hi. I can see we are already calling this place Petco's out, but how did it feel when you heard the holy shit chants here in Mexico City?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was pretty special. You know, obviously in San Diego, it's special, but leaving the country and coming here and having these fans here, and yeah, hearing that the first at bat was really cool, a little unexpected, and then after the hit, obviously it was loud. So that was, and having Rey Mysterio say it on the introductions, that wasn't on my bingo card either. So yeah, pretty special.
Sí, es bien especial para oír los fanáticos cantando Holy Shit ahí afuera. No me lo esperaba, o sea, siempre se oía allá en Petco Park, pero hacerlo en diferentes países es otra cosa. O sea, no me lo esperaba, y también a Rey Mysterio, que me lo hizo cuando hizo las introducciones, tampoco lo tenía ficha de que iba a pasar eso, así que es inolvidable para vivir.
All right, Gavin, thanks for the time.
All right, that was Gavin Sheets alongside Padres Spanish language interpreter Jorge Merlos at Estadio Alfredo Harpelu in Mexico City. Let's step aside. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our play of the game. We will get you ready for the final game of this 2-game series tomorrow, and we'll also hear some post-game reaction from Ty France, who had 2 solo home runs in this 6-4 win for the Padres today. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues after these words. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place. Padres beat the Diamondbacks 6-4 in Mexico City today. Padres improved to 18-8. Ty France, really, really nice game. 2 solo home runs, one in the 5th inning that made it 4-1, got the Padres a little bit closer, and then one in the 9th inning that made it 6-4, provided the Padres bullpen some breathing room, some insurance. So Ty France, 2 solo home runs today, numbers 2 and 3 on the season for Ty, both to the opposite field. Really, really nice day for Ty France, who played first base today in this 6-4 win. Let's go back to Estadio Alfredo Harpelu in Mexico City, hear from Ty France alongside Padres Spanish interpreter Jorge Merlos.
Start with AJ on the right side.
Ty, what did you just think about the vibe in general tonight in the ballpark?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. This place was loud. I was talking on the bench with a couple guys about like where we could compare it to in the States, and the closest comp we had was Dodger Stadium. So, yeah, a lot of fun. The environment was great, electric, and looking forward to tomorrow. Era bien eléctrico. Nosotros en el clubhouse estamos tratando de comparar de dónde se puede vivir así el ambiente, los aficionados, y lo más cercano que pudimos encontrar era Dodger Stadium, pero nunca hemos visto algo así, pero es bien emocionante y bien contento de estar en un estadio así.
You joined Manny Machado and Ken Caminiti's Padres with multiple home runs in a game in Mexico. What does that mean to you, knowing you're in that kind of company?
It's special. I mean, those are two big names. To even be mentioned in the same category as them is special, and very grateful to be mentioned with them. Sí, es muy especial de estar con esos nombres que han podido anotar 2 jonrones en la Ciudad de México. Es muy especial para mí y que le doy gracias para el reconocimiento.
I will ask in Spanish. La semana pasada hablamos en San Diego que si sabías de la altura de la Ciudad de México, de que la pelota volaba mucho aquí, pero esperabas dar 2 jonrones y para la banda contraria.
Yeah, last week we talked about, the altitude here in Mexico City, but did you believe that you'd be able to hit home runs at the opposite field the way that you did tonight? I mean, I hit both balls pretty good, but the last one sneaking out, you could tell the difference. We really noticed it in batting practice today. Guys were hitting home runs all over the field, and you can tell the difference in the elevation. Sí, yo creo que el segundo jonrón que di, parecía como si, sí, aquí se puede averiguar cómo es la altura acá, pero en realidad lo pudimos ver durante la práctica de bateo, que se estaba yendo todas las pelotas por todos lados.
¿Alguna vez habías dado 2 jonrones en un juego a la banda contraria?
Have you, in your career, had a moment or a time where you've hit 2 opposite field home runs in the same game? No.
Hi, Ty. Mexican parents like to take their kids to eat some good tacos after they hit a home run. Tonight you hit a couple. What are your plans for tonight in the Mexican capital?
I'm a pretty boring person. I plan on going back in some restaurant tomorrow. I'm open to recommendations. You got any good taco spots? Yo quizás no voy a ir a ningún sitio, yo no hago muchas cosas, yo solo voy a ir a recuperarme en el hotel, pero si tienen unas recomendaciones me lo pueden pasar y quizás me voy.
Anybody? Orinoco?
Any last ones tonight for Ty? No?
Great.
All right.
All right, that was Ty France alongside Padres Spanish language interpreter Jorge Merlos at Estadio Alfredo Harpelu in Mexico City. That was a good question about the tacos. Hey, Ty, you had two Oppo tacos today, opposite field home runs. I think, Ty, you got to get a couple of tacos in Mexico City to celebrate a little bit. So great job by Ty France, couple of solo home runs in this 6-4 win for the Padres on this Saturday. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a number of finals today. We also have a few games that are, a handful of games rather, that are going on right now. Let's get to those first. Royals beating up on the Angels 12-1 in Kansas City in the 9th inning. Yankees ahead of the Astros 8-2 in Houston in the 9th. The Reds beating up on the Tigers 9-2 in Cincinnati in the 8th inning. Braves ahead of the Phillies 4-3 in Atlanta in the 8th inning. Phillies are trying to avoid an 11th consecutive loss. They are trailing again in Atlanta right now by a run in the 8th inning. Dodgers are looking to snap the Cubs 10-game win streak. Looks like they're probably going to do it. They're leading the Cubs 12-4 in LA in the 7th inning. Mariners beat the Cardinals 11-9 in St. Louis earlier today. Blue Jays over the Guardians 5-3. Giants beat the Marlins 6-2 in San Francisco. The Rays beat the Twins 6-1 in Tampa Bay. Nationals beat the White Sox in 10 6-3 in Chicago. Rangers beat the A's 4-3 in Arlington. And finally, the Red Sox beat up on the Orioles 17-1 in Baltimore. But after the game, breaking news, the Red Sox firing their longtime manager, World Series winning manager, Alex Cora. He was fired after the game alongside a number of members of the Red Sox coaching staff as well. Chad Tracy will become the interim manager for the Red Sox. So that was big, big news coming out of Baltimore. Again, the Red Sox won the game today 17-1. And afterwards, the Red Sox, their president of baseball operations, Craig Breslow, firing their World Series winning manager back in 2018, Alex Cora, alongside a number of coaches as well. They totally cleaned house there pretty much in Boston. So that was breaking news. And also Rockies and the Mets were rained out today in New York. They will make up today's game as part of a doubleheader tomorrow in Queens. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday. Final score again today, Padres 6 and the Diamondbacks 4. Let's hear today's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Here's the first one to Sheets. Gavin swings, hits it hard through the right side, and a base hit. Merrill has scored. Machado's being waved. Here comes the throw from Carroll. It is cut, a 2-run single, and a 1-run game here in the 7th.
Gavin Sheets, his 2-run single in the 7th inning, made it a 1-run game, cut the deficit to 4-3, set up the 2 sacrifice flies to tie the game and give the Padres the lead. That 2-run base hit by Gavin Sheets, today's play of the game. And I think that's probably the right choice. I know the sac fly tied the game. Another sac fly gave the Padres the lead. But the Padres had the bases loaded in that spot. Nobody out. And that hit by Gavin Sheets really gave him a lot of momentum, made it a 1-run game, and again, sort of set up the Padres having the ability to both tie and take the lead on a couple of sac flies, manufacturing some runs. So 2 straight days, 2 straight games rather, where Gavin Sheets, as our play of the game, had the go-ahead home run on Thursday in Colorado and a big 2-run single in that 7th inning rally here today. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, it'll be game 2 of this Mexico City series as the Padres will look for a series win in this short 2-game set. First pitch tomorrow at Estadio Alfredo Harpelu in Mexico City at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. Our pregame coverage will begin at 12:05 from here inside our San Diego studios. Pitching matchup tomorrow, right-hander Michael King on the mound for the Padres, right-hander Ryan Nelson on the mound for the D-backs. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage in video form there as well. Taking a look at the final totals today for the Padres: 6 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. They left on 5. For the Diamondbacks, 4 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors. They left on 7. Winning pitcher today, German Marquez, who improves to 3-1. Losing pitcher, Taylor Clark, who drops to 1-1. And the save goes to Mason Miller, his 10th of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 52 minutes, and the crowd at Estadio Alfredo Harpelú in Mexico City, 19,630. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. Our pregame coverage will begin at 12:05. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Kyle Ovenshire, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score today, the San Diego Padres 6 and the Arizona Diamondbacks 4. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Saturday.